Welcome to the Salt Lake Fitness Podcast, Salt Lake Pod for short. I'm Nat.
And I'm Christy. And this is your space for salty stories, sweaty workouts, and improving crew sanity at sea.
Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 5 of the Salt Lake Pod. I'm Nat.
And I'm Christy.
And today we have Hugo Ortega on our podcast. He quit a 6-figure engineering career, started at the bottom of the super yacht industry, and now captains yachts for a living. He also mentors people into the super yacht industry and started Super Yacht Sunday School. Welcome, Hugo Ortega.
Well, thank you. Good to be here. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Christy. I'm excited to chat.
Yeah, we are so excited to have you on today, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are really keen to hear your story. It is a very unique one, and we have a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it. Tell us how you first came across the super yacht industry, and as Nat mentioned, what you left behind to join our wonderful world of yachting.
Sure thing. So, I think the how I found yachting is probably very different from how a lot of your listeners nowadays are finding it, because below deck, which I know we're going to cover, is getting bigger and bigger. And it's just when I started, I'm sure you remember, like when you told family and friends, hey, I work on yachts, they'd be like, oh, so like cruise ships, right? And it was just something I never expected. I never thought I was going to work on yachts. I mean, I had no water background. I didn't even know how to swim when I got into yachting, believe it or not. Yeah, no, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I grew up in New York. My parents are immigrants, so they really always pumped into my head, go to college, better your life. And that's how I stumbled on engineering, like you mentioned before. And, I was making a 6-figure income and I was working in the oil and gas industry. And, that was... It was good for some people, but it was never my dream, and that's kind of what happens when you reach a point in your life when you're like, I didn't want this. I thought I did, or someone put it in my head. And I was sitting there and, in meetings and hearing acronyms and all kinds of bullshit every day. And I was like, man, I really can't imagine doing this for the next 40 years. Like, I don't want to work with these people. They're highly conservative. I'm in Texas. Like, I don't even like steak that much. Like, it wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. No, I mean, anyway, but the point of it wasn't for me, right? And what I always knew I wanted to do was travel. I think, I grew up watching a lot of, movies when I was a kid. I really romanticized the idea of traveling. And I had a job that gave me about 3 weeks of holiday. I ended up putting like sick days and all this other kind of stuff onto it. And I had a month. And basically I went to Thailand and I started touring Southeast Asia. I fell in love with it. And, I came back. And then when I came back, it was just like even more to terms with reality. Like, holy shit, I really hate my life. Like, how do I go back to doing that? That's all I know I want to do. So then thankfully, the job that I was working for laid me off. And, I was kind of like spiraling a little bit because 1, I was like, okay, I hated that job. But 2, I got fired from that job. So I must be really a piece of shit then if I can't even keep a job that I hate. So anyway, once I got over that, I had some really good friends that really pushed me. They're like, look, you really enjoyed that trip. Like, go see the world, do whatever you want to do. You this is a huge opportunity on the flip side of the downfall of losing your job. And I did that. I threw everything in a storage unit. I started traveling. And then this is probably where my story kind of sounds maybe like yours, Nat, or yours, Christy, is, while traveling, I met this guy and he was a deckhand. He worked on super yachts and his camera roll was, better than what my dreams were, right? He was just cruising the Bahamas and he was, swimming with the pigs. He was in the middle of the Mediterranean, driving fancy boats, going to Saint-Tropez, going to the Monaco Yacht Show, all these things that, again, I didn't know that I wanted per se, but I knew I wanted experiences, right? That's all I want to do in this life. Like, taste and see and feel and do everything. I mean, I'm in Vietnam right now, for instance. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
And anyway, when he told me about his job, I was just like, oh, cool. Not something that I thought I was going to do, but I started traveling with him more and more. And, we were together for, I think, all in all, like 3 months. But he slowly started introducing me to more yachties because we went to Bali and then more people flew in and then I met some of them. And it slowly felt like I was like joining the secret club, right? There was it was like this lifestyle. Because before everyone tells you, like get married, go to college. Well, not in that order, right? Go to college, get married, have a kid, pump out some shit and then die. And I was like, okay, like I resigned myself to thinking that was what you needed to do.
Right.
But these people were working for a season, saving up enough money to not work again for a year. They were traveling to all these places. They were diving. They were living exciting lives. And I was jealous. I was like, I want to do that. And then the more I hung out with the guy as well, his name's Wesley. He was later featured on Below Deck as well.
Oh
Wesley
yes,
Walton.
Wes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Wes.
yeah.
He was the guy that got me into this. The more I
No
met
way.
him, yeah, and he told me, look, like, I didn't have any crazy background. I mean, I think he studied environmental sciences or something like that. And he's like, if I can do it, you can do it. And I was like, well, okay, yeah, he's a kind of a joker, I love him. But I
Yeah.
was like, if he can do it, yeah, why not? And they kind of helped me map out what I needed to do, where to go to Fort Lauderdale, get what courses to do. My family already lived in Orlando, and I just
So
dropped
nice.
off all my shit there. I went to Florida, and then, I think 2, 3 weeks later, I was day working on my first yacht. And then 2 weeks after that, I was doing my first Atlantic crossing. And then the rest is
Wow.
history.
Oh wow.
Wow. What
That's
a story.
that's
Yeah.
pretty
And,
cool
and
actually.
Yeah, and to touch on what you said, like I did leave, I left a six-figure job, but that first summer I saved more money than I had ever done, and I was only making 2,800 euros plus tips, and I was like, holy shit, like this is cool. I remember reflecting on that season and thinking like, man, I would have done this for free. We went to the Monaco Grand Prix. We were in
Wow.
Saint Tropez. We were in Croatia. We went all over Italy. We were docked in Venice for 2 weeks, and I had time off. Like it was a dream, I actually look back on those days. I was like, man, life was so much simpler back then.
Yeah. And it sounds like you had the perfect like introduction into the industry to make you, really get hooked.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because I do think that if you get the first boat, if the first boat is a bad boat, it's probably your last boat. So thankfully, I had
100%.
some really good people.
Well, that's good to hear that you had this really good introduction into yachting because as you can, well, if anyone knows your Sunday school and you as a person, they can see how well you have done. I mean, starting out from like not doing anything as a deckhand, now you're a captain. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Like how crazy that you started from first of all engineering and
Mm,
working in the six-figure industry. And I find it quite crazy actually how you said you save more money in
mm,
yachting than you did working in this industry where people like fantasize when you're in the yachting industry for a while, right? We're like, oh, I wish we could go back to corporate life and I could be, CEO of this company and making all this money.
mm.
But the thing is, you actually save so much more money in the yachting industry when you
Yeah.
spend the time on these boats
Yeah.
and you realize how much you can earn and what you do to save money. Become quite frugal. I don't know how to. I don't know if you have that kind of same aspect. A lot of people when they
Right.
first arrive, they start spending money right in the first year of yachting. They're like
Mm,
money, money, money. But then after a while, you're like, oh shit! Like all that extra money and income that I'm making, I can keep this and I can save it towards buying a house, put it into investments.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy how much you can actually save.
And I think one of the biggest things as well that people don't realize is like how you don't have expenses for however many months
mm.
you're on board, like gosh, living is expensive these days. And
Yeah.
when your food and everything's covered, like all of that money's straight to you, straight to the bank.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I think, lifestyle creep's a real thing. And, if you don't watch it, everyone's liable to spend all of their money on whatever kind of box they build for themselves. And when I was an engineer, I mean, I had a nice new car, I had a nice new apartment, I had an expensive girlfriend, right? I had like all the things that really drain a bank account really quickly. And when I got on the yacht, it's like you said, like I had a cell phone bill, I had a bar tab, but again, I was so busy that the bar tab is not even that big a den.
yeah,
And that's pretty much it, right? After that, it
Yeah.
was just saving. And then when you're hectic and chartering, again, it's just like you start grabbing some of the cash that comes off of some of those tips. And suddenly you lived on like, I don't know, $100 of cash that week, and everything else was just stacking, stacking, stacking. And that's what I try to push people to know now too, right? Like
Yeah.
be aware of your finances when you get into this, and then you don't have to be chained to this. Because I kind of took the approach where I was taking a lot of my time off between boats to go and travel and see things. But again, frugally, like Nat said, or to places like Vietnam where I wasn't spending all my money.
Mm.
So
yeah.
I kind of was able to, I've never been one to want a lot of things, but it was like I was able to have experiences on the boat, have experiences off the boat, and then save money for courses or just for life.
Now, so you've entered the industry, you've had this amazing first season, these amazing first experiences, ticked all the yachting boxes. How did your situation happen to fall into the below deck realm? How did that come about?
Yeah. Well, that wasn't until much later. I'm trying to even think when I first heard about the show. It must have been in my first few years. But, I went and I kind of went on the approach of I didn't want to do it and then kind of burn my career, right? Like a lot of people have done. And I think it's a lot easier if you have the experience first and then go. And that was kind of what was happened. I think like 5 years into the industry, I was again, I think I'm always looking for like that next thing, and sometimes to a detriment, right? But it also is why I do Super Yacht Sunday School and other things, because I always just kind of like need that spark of novelty or something new. So anyway, I was second officer on a yacht in Savannah. I think it was during COVID. And I was like, man, like, why not? I keep seeing this shit pop up, and so many people going through this show. Like, I'm already an officer. It can't be too bad. And that was when I first applied and got in talks with them. And I think kind of like ships in the night, we just kept missing each other. And it wasn't until maybe I guess nowadays it's probably 2 years ago, when I got the call to fill in for someone, and I just flew down, and yeah, the rest was history. They got rid of this Brazilian guy during that season. I think it was, I should know it, but I think it's season 12 of the original. I said it wrong the other day, and Damo, one of my co-stars, he was like, dude, you don't even know what season you're on? And I was like,
So we should
but
probably say, actually, for the listeners that don't know, Hugo featured on the very popular TV show Below Deck. So if it is that season, go and check it out.
yes,
Season
And
12.
season 12, episode 6.
I know.
I had to look it up. I got my hand swatted.
yeah.
Dave was going to be here going, oh my God, Hugo, how did you get it wrong again?
But yeah, so I got onto it then, and that's how I did it. And by that time I was already captaining a yacht at the time. And I think you can always look, the cameras are always on, you can always screw up, anyone can look like an idiot. But again, if you've done the job, a bosun's job, I'd done it so many times by then, I already know it like inside and out plus more. I think I felt more comfortable at that point, because I think, when the cameras start pointing at you, you get like 20 IQ points stupider, and then you're like, oh, what's a chamois? Like a caveman running around the boat is a proper deck ape. But by then I was well acquainted with it. I was like, 60-meter yacht, cool. I've worked on 90. Bosun, cool. I'm already a captain, and it kind of flowed better that way, I think.
I think that's really interesting you say that, because a lot of the times, like going to the Below Deck and watching a few of the seasons, and also just listening to people that don't really understand the yachting industry, and they always go, I don't know if you guys get this, but I'll tell them what I do and what I work, and they go, oh my God, have you been on Below Deck? Like, is it just like the show? Like, what happens on it? Like, you must have so much drama. And I'm like, it's not, the yachting industry is not actually per se like Below Deck. I don't know if you agree with this statement or not, Hugo, because you've
Yeah,
lived
do you?
both
That's quite
sides.
interesting. It's a good question.
It's a really good question, and I think it's hard to say, just because like there's so many different types of yachts out there, right? And no two are the same.
Yeah.
I know that personally, I've had way more dramatic and crazy shit that's happened to me in real yachting than on Below Deck. But at the same time, that's not my everyday, right? Like, it was like, oh yeah, that one boat was a shit show. Remember that guy went to jail? Remember that boat almost caught on fire, and this, and this. But like, that was one season from hell, man. It was this
That was one
45-meter.
time. It was this
That
one
was
time.
We dropped off charter, and literally we had 2 days off, and I could show up to work the day before the charter, and then just like, yeah, the bosun's in jail. And then we had to go with cash and try to bail him out, and they were like, nah, we're gonna hold him for a week. So
Sorry.
that whole,
Why was he in jail?
at the time, so it was alleged sexual assault, which he was cleared of later. But he was in Bahamian jail, man. He was in Fox hell. He was.
oh my
He's,
God.
yeah, no air conditioning, sun beating on that shit all day. He was in a room with like 50 guys in a shit bucket. Crazy. But
We need to
that
get
season,
him on for a podcast.
We need to
yeah,
have a
yeah.
discussion with him how this happened. Oh my God.
So that yacht was a yacht from hell. I think everything about that yacht was crazier than the show. And we always, that was our joke, right? We kept saying, man, if only we put this on Below Deck, we'd be rich. And like a year or two later, then it's like, oh, okay, cool, I'm on the show. And then it's like, I'm ready. I've been in the trenches getting ready for this moment.
Yeah.
And then it was pretty chill. Like the craziest thing they do is like they have like the all gay charter or like an all nude charter. Like that's okay. I mean, it's weird, it's kitschy, but it's not that hard.
And Hugo, tell us, how long do you film for? Like, how long does the season go?
So the whole thing's done over 6 weeks, and I was there for about 2/3 of it. So I think I was probably there just over 4 weeks.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah,
I have a question, okay?
sure.
And I don't know if this is going to ruin people's perspective of Below Deck or not, but okay. So I have heard that on Below Deck, you have the crew that's being filmed, and then you have the crew that are actually employed on the boat. Now, the people that are normally on, let's say you take, it's a motor yacht Mug, for example, okay? On motor yacht
Mm.
Mug, you have all the positions filled, and then it's like, okay, below deck comes and goes, Mug, we want to use the boat, and we're going to fill in with our people that we want to film, right? So the guys that are actually employed on motor yacht Mug, for example, what do they do while this is being filmed? Do they come in like, and do they do the docking, or do you guys still do the docking, or do they come in? You see, I want to know. I can see your face.
Yeah.
What I'm
No,
asking.
I was laughing because everyone seems to have this question. And I don't know where it's from because I've Googled it and tried to figure it out and I didn't see it. But basically, one, I wish I would have had another crew come do the dirty work because I felt like I was done cleaning boats. And then suddenly I'm like, fucking hell, I'm here again.
Wipe
But
down.
but no, to be honest, there is a crew, like you said, that was the permanent crew, and most of them end up getting vacation time. We keep
Okay.
the engineers, and we kept one of the officers, and then the rest of them, I don't know where they go. Maybe they're on rotation. They've worked it out by now, and I think
Mhm.
every boat's a little bit different. But for the time that you see us there, I mean, we're the ones who do. We're on the camera, and we're also the ones that watch the boat, and we're also the ones that do the anchor watch, right? Like we're the crew while we're there. Now, the second we're done, of course, like that's it. But and I don't know how they get the normal crew back or when. But while we're there, we're there. But I do wish I have a lot of people ask me, oh, like at night, like somebody else is doing the work, right? And I was like, no, like
No,
we had to flip the boat.
no, I did the work.
Yeah. And
This
was it
is
just the one season that you did?
Yeah, so I did season, which I think is 12, everyone. Someone look it up. But
Damn up.
yeah. But fingers crossed. The door's always open. I'm very good friends with Carrie, the captain of that series of Below Deck. I've met people from all over. It's a very weird, tight knit yet also like estranged family. So I've poked my head around. I've met a lot of the people. So if anyone's listening, I'm always open. Free to another one. Let's do it.
I think
Yeah.
you're the perfect person for reality TV. You've got such a great personality, and I've seen a few of the episodes, and it was really really good watch.
Thank you.
What my question was, would you do it again? Which you've obviously answered. But my next question was the crew that you worked with on board. How were they? Did you make some lifelong friends out of the show? Were they also experienced like you, or were they mostly green?
I was really lucky in the sense, at least my deck crew. Well, in general, I think we only had one green person on my season. Which, if you watch the show any amount, you'll be familiar that there's usually a couple or even sometimes two in a department, which stirs the pot really well.
Yeah.
But thankfully for me, I think the least amount of experience. Well, I had Stilly. Stilly, he's the Scottish deckhand I had. That was his second season in yachting and second season on that boat. So even though he'd only done 6 weeks of yachting before that, at least he knew the boat, in and out
Yeah.
backwards. We were using the same one from the year before. So that was really good. And he's like a really hard worker. So, I never had any problems there. And then my other deckhand, I think he had 2 years. That was Damo. I think my lead deckhand had been doing this for like 3 or 4 years. So we were, everyone was really experienced. So I look at some of the scenes in the like current season and I cringe because I'm like, fuck, man, like it could have been so much worse if I got someone who didn't even know
Yeah.
like how to clean or what is a tender, what's port, what's starboard. Like you can be really set up in my position to get screwed over. And I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying. Like, would you do it again? 100% yes. But there's no guarantee that it would be on like easy mode. It would be. I could have two fresh deckhands that know nothing and they're
Mm.
about to kill each other, and it could be a nightmare. But I think it's fun. It's cool. And on the interior as well, I think everyone was pretty good and they had their shit on lock. So I think in terms of experience, we were quite fortunate.
I'm going to steer this conversation away from below deck and away from the glamorization of yachting. And my
Mm,
question is that people see the champagne, they see the jet skis, they see how we kind of, once we drop off charter, we kind of live like the people that charter the
mm,
yacht, for example.
Mm.
right.
And it's great and it's fun. But I want to know from you, what would you say is the dark side of yachting that people should be aware about?
That's a really good question as well. I'll quote Carey because he has a really good saying. He says, "We're not here to enjoy the sunsets. We're here to make them," which I think rings really true to what you're saying as well. For better or for worse, with when we started, I'm sure you remember, like, Instagram on the yacht was a no-no, right? Like, you wouldn't be posting photos and tagging the boat
Mhm.
or tagging your location. It was like, hey, I don't even work on yachts to some extent. Like, you tell someone and tell your close friends, but you wouldn't be like broadcasting it, or you would never have been a yachting influencer, which is very much, now I'm not doing that, and everyone else is also breaking those rules. But I think the downfall is that I'm not one of those people that think like everyone needs to have like this crazy passion for the ocean and they grew up dreaming of being on a sailboat and like that's why they're in yachting. Like, I'm not that deluded, but you do get into a problem when everyone's only here for the travel, right? Like, that's the other extreme. Like, I don't need everyone to be like a salty sailor, but I need everyone to also know that like this is like just some other form of hospitality. Like, if you wouldn't have liked working in a bar, or restaurant, or a hotel, then you probably shouldn't be looking here either, because there's going to be so much overlap that it's not the job for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big problem. We've all worked with crew like that are only here for the travel. And as soon as 5 o'clock hits, not even 5 o'clock, as soon as it's like tea break in the afternoon, they're like nowhere to be found. They're in some
Yep.
bilge or sleeping in the guest cabin, or you're like, dude, we still have work to do. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you're not
And
wrong.
yeah. And this is a very team-based sport, right? The smaller the yacht, the more we feel it. And sometimes we're also a really hard worker and we're really nice and all this, and we let people get passes, and then it just kills us, because then you're burning out because this motherfucker isn't doing their job. And then everyone else has to suffer. And then we have this propensity in the industry that sometimes we don't want to fire, because then it's so much work to find someone else. And you get caught in this loop where you're
Mhm.
screwing over the good crew because we are getting a bad influx and we're not really like pruning them at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the downfalls of yachting, is that it's very easy for all this to look pretty. And yeah, hell, I mean, it's a pretty industry. It's a look-based industry. I mean, I love working and being on a beautiful yacht. Like, who wouldn't, right? I want to drive this beautiful, magnificent thing, and everyone's looking at me, and I got the sunglasses on, right? Like, yes, those things exist. It is looks-based, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the work ethic to back it up, you're really in the wrong place. And I think that's what we really need to pump into people. Like, yes, you're gonna like work hard, play hard, yes, of course, but there really has to be that work aspect, or else like you're not going to last.
No, I completely
100%.
agree. And you get these people that come in, oh my goodness. You get these people that come in and they just don't give two shits, honestly. They'll
Mm,
come in and they are lazy as fuck,
yeah.
excuse my language, but they literally come in, they expect like you start work, let's say you give them a shift, they start work, they're late, number one, normally.
Mm,
They're late and then they start work and they're like half wiping, half doing it. You're like, oh my God.
yeah.
And the thing is, because like it's you have these high standards and you hold yourself
Mm,
accountable to make sure that first of all you are doing the best you can do, and then you give your guests and
mm,
the boss and the owner the best and experiences that they can have, right? And then
mm,
because you're holding these high standards, you get this lazy fucking asshole that comes on, and then they literally like they half-assing wiping down something, and then now you're stressed because you're doing all these other jobs, like you said, as a captain, as an officer, as like the bosun. You're responsible for your entire deck team. So if
Yeah.
they're not
mm,
performing, it becomes down to you. And like it's the same in any like land-based job as well. If you're the management of the team and your team's not performing with the numbers and getting the sales out, it comes down to you. Why are you not getting it done? So you're just like,
yeah.
fuck, you like, it's just
It's like
exhausting. And
it's
the thing
like
is also,
Yeah.
personal for Nat at the moment. We've been
Yeah.
like talking about this quite often recently, and
it's
and
just,
so
it's
I can feel the
exhausting.
passion.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say too is that I'm not deranged enough to only say the problem lies at the bottom, right? Because I know one of the biggest problems for all of us too is the people at the top,
Yeah.
right? The
Mm,
lack of training, the gatekeeping, the jealousy, the I got screwed over, so I'm gonna fucking make your life difficult. Like, all
Mhm.
that kind of shit
yeah,
is also really terrible for the industry, because we share this industry with people that burnt out of regular life, that couldn't hack it at an office job, that had no goals, had no whatever. Like, it's some people are adventurous and want the adventure and the freedom, but then other people also are just like deadbeats. And
yeah.
I see them on Facebook, I see them lurking everywhere, and
The
those are the
weekend
people that
warriors.
yeah, those are the
Yeah,
people that shouldn't be leading and being in charge of other people, because some of them get off on the control. Some of them are predators. Some of them are
yeah,
unstable. Some of
Yeah.
them are drug addicts, right? Like, so there's kind of a problem where you can come in for the wrong reasons and then you can stay too long. But we
yeah.
also have crew that come in for the right reasons and have to leave because they don't want to stay too long, because these
Yeah.
motherfuckers are terrible to work for.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
And you're tackling from both
Yeah.
ends. Sorry, Christy, but tackling from both ends, you get those people. I've worked for some. Oof, I've come into the industry. I nearly left the industry, I think 3 times because I just, not that I can't handle people. I'm good at
Yeah.
handling people. I'm good at managing stress, but the people that were above me made my life a living hell. And it's like, y I completely agree. It's like they get off, like, on the control. They get off on, like, making, it's like narcissistic, manipulative people that come
Yeah.
in, try and, like, hurt you because they don't like that you're either successful or that you're a happy person or that you're getting, like,
Hmm.
things done properly. And it's actually quite devastating. It can be mentally quite devastating for those people that are underneath that because you don't want to be
Hmm.
technical, like you said, and they're good at what they do, but they just can't handle that kind of environment, which is not good. It's toxic, right?
And the
Yeah.
dangerous thing is as well, like those type of people within the yachting industry, you can get away with a lot more within our industry than you can shoreside. And like it's a really sad thing, but it's such a private industry. You know, we don't have things now like, you know, unions or shoreside HR
Yeah.
team, things like that. I think it's starting to definitely get better, which is
Hmm.
a real big positive. But when you have the wrong people in powerful positions, it can be absolutely just detrimental to everyone
Yeah.
around them. And it's also such a unique industry that you're all stuck in such a confined environment. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So everything is heightened tenfold. And I think the industry is made for very unique people to thrive, and those people, they're the special ones that you've got to, like, you know, grab and hang on to. And I mean, I've found some really special, amazing mentors, but yeah, when you get the ones in the wrong people in the wrong positions, it can be really dangerous.
But that kind of leads into the next stage of questions here. Because like you said, you can hire some good people and you're helping people understand what the yachting industry is like. And this is kind of from what I see, you started Super Yacht Sunday School to help people to get into the industry for number one, the right reasons, and to also show them what it is and how to get
Mm.
into it and why to get into it. Not for the wrong reasons, but for the right reasons. And you've helped so many people come into the industry and you've mentored them to come on and find like the right boats because you tell them the cowboy boys the shit that they can go through, like what actually can fucking happen, you know. And then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said, look, this is how we do it and this is why you come to the industry and this is what you want to look for. And I think I saw a couple of posts as some women have tried to join yachts and they like messaged you and said, this is what the captain said, is it okay still to join? You're like, fuck no, like don't,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
I want to know a bit more, and I'm sure people want to understand more about Super Yacht Sunday School, why you started it, how it's going, and what your future plans are for this community.
And before you start, Hugo, we are huge fans, like
Yes.
Awesome.
super fangirling right now of Super Yacht Sunday School. Those yachties out there, if you don't follow, you need to make sure you follow them. Their Instagram is epic and
That's
so
hilarious.
successful. So
Thank you.
congratulations, like 77,000 followers or something now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
tell us everything.
Yeah. So that was the brainchild really of me and my partner. We were on a yacht in, where were we? We were in Amsterdam, and it was during COVID. Everything was shutting down at Ep.5, and that was one of the times where I was like, wow, like even working on a yacht, life sucks again. Like as soon as it's dark, I can't go to the gym, I can't do anything. This town is shut, and I was like, what do I want to do with my life? Like, am I going to do this forever? Like I was mentioning before, I was an officer by that point. I th- that was after I'd already applied for below deck and hadn't gone on it yet. So I was like, again, looking for that thing. And I saw that, really everyone in the world was starting to do this thing called work from home. And I was like, huh, I've been working from home for the last 5 years, but it was just on a yacht. Like, do you think I
Yeah.
can do that anywhere, even if I'm not on the yacht? And I started trying to think, and that was kind of how I got onto thinking of a way, like, what can I serve in this industry? And I remembered, that I had no reason being on a yacht. I grew up in New York. I wasn't on the water. We didn't have money. I wasn't on boats my whole life. I didn't swim, right? The whole shebang. And I was like, I think there's a lot of people probably that are second guessing themselves or doubting or looking, but back then we didn't have ChatGPT. We didn't have a lot of ways of looking up this info. And again, we talked already on Facebook how it's really toxic and just a cesspool of shitbags that work in the industry. So it's like, if you're interested in it, you only have the show. And I was like, that's not really a one-to-one comparison. So I wanted to kind of find a way to like pull everything out of my brain, but not just me, but like create a system and a community where people would then be kind of, coming up and teaching young people, and then kind of keep the process going. Because like you said before, you don't know at the beginning, what is a cowboy boat? Oh, I want to work on a 30 meter, or I want to work on a 300 meter. I don't really know what those things mean and what's the difference. And
Mm.
and that's the kind of the niche I wanted to fill, is like the coaching and the guiding, not being like, get your STCW and get your ENG1. I mean, we have to talk about that, but that's not sexy, that's not fun, and that's not
Sure.
nuanced. I want to talk to the person that's like, hey, what are the chances of me becoming a spa stu? This is what I've done, and what sizes are even spas available, right? Like, let me stretch the brain a little bit. And going back to my former background being an engineer, I felt like I had this really unique skill set where it's like I can finally use my technical expertise and what I've been doing and fucking off around the world and, shagging and bagging and having fun and gallivanting, and put those two things together and finally have something that, my parents could be proud of. Because up to this point, my mom was like, when are you going to go back to being an engineer? You're wasting your degree. So, it kind of ticked all the boxes. And again, I was getting that itch. I needed to do something exciting, something different, and I needed to kind of reinvent myself, because that's kind of what I do, right? I went to college, I reinvented, and then I got into yachting, I reinvented, and then now, below deck, and then the Super Yacht Sunday School. So anyway, that was kind of how I started. And at the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. So I consumed content. I was looking at things. I started putting together like PDFs and like things and resources to help people. I was doing like phone calls and kind of like, book a call with me and I'll help you get into yachting. And anyway, it continued to iterate into what we have today, where we have a community of over 300 crew. Some of them are at the beginning of their journey. Some of them are chiefs and chief stews, right? And everything in the middle. And the good thing for me is a lot of them started with me, right? And now I've known them for like 2 years or the maximum 3 years. And that's really cool, because I helped them get in. I've helped them, put together, how to get their land experience as engineers and turn that into yacht experience and get licenses. And, I've got one guy I'm going to start helping do his OW prep now. So it's been cool. And that's my goal. I want it to really be like a full service thing, like a community that you can join at the beginning because you want to know how to get in. And, we have jobs groups and all these things to help make that intake easier. But the real thing I want to do is just really like have like a captain in your pocket, right? And not just me, but like bring up other people, right? Have like brand ambassadors, so to speak. Because, I want to be sipping the cocktails and being on the beach or have my own yacht one day. So I need someone else to do the dirty work once I'm done. But honestly, yeah, have people that they can go ahead and help promote and push the people forward. Because right now, it's very much me centric, and also my partner. People book calls, like one-on-one calls with me. We talk, we do like monthly Q&As, and that's really cool, because at the beginning, right, everyone was at zero. And now when
Yeah.
we do the calls, like I've got people that, oh, I'm in the Bahamas, I'm in Palma, and they're already on boats and they're talking about their experiences. And that's where I want this to keep going, because then I can kind of give the lantern to them to talk more and have them lead things and do things. And I kind of want to create this system that's like for yachties, by yachties. It sounds kind of cheesy, but I want everyone, whether it's the person that does, the posting on the Instagram one day, can be like a yachty that's, I don't know, maybe they're in South Africa and they want to make, more money than they could at some local job, but they still want to be in yachting and they kind of want to keep tabs there. Whereas other people could be like on boats, but they're like community managers. And again, they're doing one-on-ones and getting paid for it. So anyway, the goal is help you get in, help you make the most of your career, whether that's a good time, a long time, a short time, whatever time. And then ultimately help people get out, right? Because now I've got this like social media based business that's fueled by a lot of different things I've had to learn in marketing strategies and all that. And I'd love to help yachties. If you want to do some kind of business that's going to be, powered by social media after you get out of yachting, like, hey, let's talk, because I've already got systems built and I can
Yeah.
kind of help coach you just like I got coached to do this as well. And
Yeah.
and I think I kind of went the long way around, but I think a big part of this too is mentoring. Like I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't had like on my second yacht, I had an officer that really took an interest in what I was doing, walked me through how to get my officers to the watch. He would pull us into the bridge every Wednesday and make us like present on a topic and like help me teach me about passage planning and all these things. So like I've had people, he's one, I had a captain that gave me the sticks really early, and a few people that were really pivotal in getting me to where I'm at now. And I just want to kind of keep that cycle going, because, we had one student or a crew member and she was like, this is great. This is like the most positive place in yachting. I love it. I can ask whatever I want. And like when judges, and that really struck with me because, creating a community and having people feel good and feel like they can learn and also laugh, like That's what I want, right? Like I'm tired of all this either toxic shit on Facebook or really stuffy fake. Oh, like if we're the builder of the yacht, like let's just be real people. Like this job can suck. It's also fucking great. You know, you can travel to some cool places, meet some cool people, and then sometimes you want to kill your boss. But let's talk about it and how we can avoid what's normal and what's not.
Avoid killing them.
Exactly. Maybe don't do that. But yeah, we're all feeling the same. Like let's all just chat about it.
I
Yeah.
absolutely
And
love that. I think that's so inspiring, Hugo. I love the fact that you've had these people that have mentored you and you've taken that on board and you've been like, right, now it's my turn to give my knowledge to other people. Because
mm,
I said in one of the podcasts that knowledge is power. And you're
mm,
only as good as your weakest link, right? In any
Mhm.
team sport, in anything that you're doing, in any environment that you have a team, you only as good as the person that knows the least. So if you share all
right.
the knowledge that you have, you can build a system where people are good at what they do, right? And you're building this community in yachting where people understand the realities of yachting, like you said, the ship
Mm,
parts, the good parts, and everything in between. And you're building this community up where people can come into yachting, understanding everything about it, number one, and also enjoy it to the max. So
yeah.
not come in and be like, oh, it's champagne and blitzing, and I'm gonna be working for 1 hour a day, and that's it. It's like now you're gonna be scrubbing the toilets, you're cleaning up shit, and you're gonna be fucking
Yeah.
scrubbing the decks, but you're also gonna be having the champagne at the end of the day. So I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think it's so inspiring, and it actually made my heart like fill with joy the way that you spoke about it because I can see the passion, and I can see the
Yeah.
passion you have for it, and the passion you're giving to people, which means people are lapping it up and taking that passion. And like the community you have is people that want to be a part of this good, which I really
Mm.
it's so good for the yachting industry. I'm so happy that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you. It
We have two questions that we want to finish with, Hugo, and you kind of answered one of them. We
mm.
ask every single guest on the podcast if they have had a mentor in the industry. So, those people you just spoke about, do you want to give a shout out to one person that really influenced your career?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Minus Dervano. He's a Bahamian captain. He was my second officer, relief second officer on my second yacht on Fountainhead. And he was really, yeah, you know someone on there? So
I used to work with Fountainhead.
okay, yeah, that was my second yacht. But to answer your question, shout
Sorry.
out to Minus. I've kept in contact with him my whole career. Actually, on the boat that I was just captain on last, I had him be my relief at one point as well. So it's been really cool to try to give back as well. Like, hey, you helped me, now I help you, and we have a really good working relationship. He's an awesome guy.
Amazing. That's incredible. Okay. And the last question that we want to ask you today, can you swim now?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to be in any rush to do the Olympic backstroke, but I'm good. Yeah.
Great to know.
That's a
Okay.
great question.
And where can our listeners follow you and find you?
So they can follow me, Super Yacht Sunday School. Our biggest platform is Instagram, but if you look at any social media, you'll find it. And superyachtsundayschool.com if you think you want to learn more about yachting. If you're interested, I do weekly live sessions where I kind of go over what I think are the tools, tricks, and what you need to know. Because so many people get into this with really just the wrong game plan. And that's kind of what I try to debunk and debrief. So in the top right corner, you can click the free training, watch it. It's helped, I don't know, I think over 10,000 people have watched it by now. And I know I've guided 300 crew into the industry, and who knows how many more have watched and, just been watching from the sidelines. So if you think you want to get into yachting, if you're not sure if you want to do it, if you don't think you can do it, that's where I was. And that's the kind of people that I want to work with.
I absolutely love
Amazing.
this, Hugo.
Yeah.
It's
What a
Thanks,
great
guys.
chat. Thank you so
yeah.
much for your time today. Hugo calling in from Vietnam and Nat from the Bahamas and me from Australia. And yeah, we can't wait to see you all on the next podcast. That's a wrap on today's episode.
Stay salty, stay strong, and keep moving with purpose. See you next time.